Hi.
Okay, hello everybody. Andy, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. I'm glad to be on.
Fantastic. We are live. Well, first of all, everyone, hello, happy Tuesday. A huge thank you to everyone that is listening in. What a week is starting off to be. A huge thank you to the Binance Square team for hosting, as always. We have a really interesting session ahead of us today. We'll be taking a look at what is happening in crypto and trying our best to summarize the events that are taking place and what it could mean for the industry moving forward. And I'm really excited to introduce and announce to you all our guest for today. So we have Anndy Lian, who's joining us to share his insights. And Andy has a very interesting background in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. So it's an absolute pleasure to get some of his insights and hear from him. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Anndy Lian is a best-selling book author and intergovernmental blockchain advisor, very popular on X as well. So if you're not following him on socials, do make sure to do so. Andy, thank you for taking the time out to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, likewise. I'm very happy that I managed to connect to the to the this Binance Square, and love to have a good chat with you, Jessica.
Fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you on here. The Binance Square community is absolutely fantastic. I always love doing these live streams, especially during the week, because as we know in crypto, so much does happen. So before we get things started and kick things off, I do want to just give our disclaimer. So for anyone listening, please do note the content that we'll be including in this stream today does include third-party comments and opinions that don't necessarily reflect the views, comments, or opinions of Binance. But for more information, we always have a detailed disclaimer, which you can take a little bit of a look at. So maybe, Andy, we can start things off by taking a look at you and just a short introduction of your background and your involvement in the space in 2025. And then we can dive in with the events that are happening in crypto this year.
No problem, no problem. I'll start off with a quick introduction. So, I'm Andy. I'm usually based in Singapore and in a few other countries like South Korea, UK, London. I run different businesses in the region, mainly in the investment circle. So I have a licensed fund that is based in Singapore, and then of course also in UK. Um, Typically I invest in early days, projects um, from the crypto fund. And of course, from a more licensed fund perspective, we look at things that has a bit more utility and infrastructure. So we invest things from layer one all the way to layer three, and then some of these platforms that you see right now in the space. I'm not shilling anybody, are also part of my portfolio company. Other than that, I'm just always online on X, doing a lot of engagement with different friends, and and most of the time, whenever I go out to speak and present certain topics, for example, like my latest book that I'm going to publish soon about Web 4, for example, how real decentralization with AI is going to work and so forth and so on. I just position myself as a book author, and then of course I give different this advisory to different government. I'm still an active advisor to Mongolia, and I'll be in Mongolia in May, to have a good chat with them about the startup space and of course about the crypto space. In a nutshell, this is who I am, and I have been in the space for quite a while. Got into the Bitcoin arena in 2013, going full time into the blockchain tech space in 2017. I've never looked back. Whether the market is up or down, I'm always around. Thanks, Jessica.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think that's really, really significant for you to say and share some of your history and your background. It's really valuable for the people that are listening. And as you've mentioned, you have gone all in crypto in 2017 and you haven't looked back. And I think this is going to be a really interesting focus for the conversation today, because a lot of people that may be listening may be fairly new to crypto, and they may be looking at what is going to happen next, and also how they can make sure that they really kind of optimize the industry to their full potential. So, what I would love to start with is asking you and your opinion, Andy, on the recent price swings that we have seen in Bitcoin and also the broader crypto market. If we zoom out a little bit, I know the last 2 or 3 days were particularly volatile, but if you could just give us a run through of maybe how the market has been faring in the last few months and how you're interpreting what we're seeing online.
Wow, that is
It's
that's
a
a
big
lot.
question.
There's a lot to answer. So before I go there, I have been contributing to Binance Square. Actually, I'm one of the first batch of guys who supported Binance Square back in the good old days. That was a couple of years ago. And recently, I started to write more on Binance Square. So every day, I'll try to post my views of the overall global financial situation, and then I will also zoom into the crypto space. So if you guys are on Binance Square, want to read something that is a bit different, I'm actually doing it almost every day except for Saturday and Sunday. So, if you have read them, I'm very thankful. So I got to go back to the main question. I think right now the market has been really crazy, right? So if you look at the various prices index, in the world, how Donald Trump is dealing with the tariffs and so forth, things have been really exciting and is really very volatile. Um, I would look at the overall global finance from my perspective. Like stocks, sank to session lows. With MSCI US index posting its worst day of the year so far, and then down by
Mm.
1.8%. All right, and there are a lot of sector-specific declines that we have seen, from energy, from Tesla, even from big companies, long time big companies like Microsoft and so forth. So overall, I think, the market is not really good from the stock perspective. And then if you look at the bond market perspective, I think the yields are a lot lower. The benchmark for a 10-year treasury yield slight more than 6 basis points to about 4.1%, while the 2-year yield dip about 4 basis points. Right now is a little bit below 4%. So all these are actually indicator to show us how the overall finance market is performing. I'm not going to go and so forth, but if you come back to what we are seeing on the crypto side, I think it has been really wild, right? So if you look at March 2nd, which is the 2 days ago, we talk about the strategic reserve, with Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Solana, and ADA. It gives gives the market quite a big a surge in price, right? So some of this coin that I've mentioned, it has gone up. Like for example, I think ADA gone up really significantly, a lot more. And then Ether gone up to about 2005, and of course it drops, right? So I think right now is in the market where things are really very volatile, and I made a post today. I'm not sure if some of you have seen it. I say something like, right now it is a very US season, right? Many of these coins, or a lot of this movement are being dictated or kind of controlled, by a couple of tweets here and there, right? So
Yes.
I felt that in the coming days, from now to the 7th, from now to to maybe mid of March, you will see a lot of different price actions coming out, but it will be very volatile out, right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've made a really, really good point there, which is kind of if we look at the interesting moves from the United States, we have just in a few days, we have the Bitcoin for America conference, which I believe will take part in 13 days, or rather on March the 11th, actually, I stand corrected. And it'll be
Yep.
policy experts convening in DC to shape America's Bitcoin strategy. So, correct, as you've said, I think it's a really interesting phrase that you're saying right now. It's US season, which kind of brings me into our next question. When it's people that are, in the crypto space at the moment, how much of the macroeconomic factors like US policy should we take notice of at the moment? You've mentioned that you have been in the industry for many years. And for people that are looking to stay in crypto for a long time and they really believe in the technology, is this a short-term trend, or does it have the potential to long-term affect the lifespan of crypto?
Okay. I mean, since this is a public session, I might be, I might need to be a little bit careful, but at the same time, I want to voice out maybe three different factors. I think the first thing that I really want to say is that, you know, we should of course look at the whole overall environment to determine what you should do. Should you hoard now? Should you buy now? Or should you do a bit of a speculation, or playing with some derivatives, so that's the first thing. You have to look at the overall picture to make some immediate short-term uh, strategies, for yourself, right? And then more of the mid-term strategy, in which, it will be a time where you think that it has gone down to a certain price where you felt it's comfortable, right? For example, some of my friends were telling me that okay, they will buy in to BTC again if it hits 60,000, for example. So if you can set that kind of target for yourself, then I think you'll feel safe. You say, oh, is it 60,000 will be the time? Then let's buy, right? And then that is the strategy for you to hoard, right? And then of course the last phase of whatever that you're trying to do is to cash out, right? So we always try to take in some profits and so forth and so on, while we see the economic changes. Why am I saying this? Is that whether or not the crypto industry is going, is going towards the right direction, there must always be good people selling, good people buying, and buying and selling is actually a very it's a very natural process, right? So as long as there are people buying and selling, regardless how big the macro environment is like and so forth, or how messy it is, as long as there are flow in and out, I think the industry is going for a super long run, because we know that crypto is here and crypto is here for the future, so I think that part, as long as there's a flow in and out, I think that's cool. But if you zoom back to the perspective of looking at this from a more short-term perspective, really short-term perspective, I think something that I really didn't like it is how US, for example, is taking the leader role, in doing this. For example, President Trump could be tweeting about something, and then it caused a big, it caused a big amount of speculation at the back. And I,
Mhm.
I think I think all these movements are not very, very uh, uh, kind to a lot of these traders. I have friends who lost 30 oh wait 13 mil, in the past 2 days, just by trying to long the market. Of course, his strategy could be wrong, but then because of all these mixed signals that are being sent out, from Bitcoin strategy reserve, strategic reserve, to then people start to question, does he or does President Trump, has the power to actually determine what should be part of the reserves and so forth. So I think a lot of these things we really need to take it as a pinch of salt as well, because as the market becomes so volatile, one news, one tweet can actually bring down the market with a few hundred of billions. Then we need to be very, very careful. So if you are an investor, for example, like a small investor, of course you say you want to risk for the biscuit, right? So you just risk as much as you can, and then try to get the maximum maximum return from it, right? But my humble advice to many of you who are right now listening is look for trends that are more obvious, right? If the trend is obvious that it is going up, okay, maybe you should look at it and start to buy in small portion, right? And again, that goes back to what I'm saying right at the beginning of the question, is that there must always be in and out, people buying and people selling, and with that kind of a healthy environment, I think again, I'm going to repeat this, crypto is going to stay, and crypto is going to be, still going to be the big thing, in the next few decades.
Mhm. Fantastic, and absolutely agree with you there. And for anyone listening, so we actually filmed a video today on market strategies, and they can range. And of course, this is not financial advice, but from kind of setting stop losses, obviously DYOR, do your own research. But then there's one strategy that is plain old simple, which is buying and holding over long periods of time, and it often performs most professional strategies. And I think just to reiterate what you've said, Andy, is we are in periods of volatility at the moment, but I think the longer term, if you zoom out, actually, this is a very positive outlook for the industry. Um, and for people not to get kind of blinded by the upward and downward price swings, because as you mentioned, even if you are a seasoned trader, this is something which is new territory for a lot of us. So I'm curious now, because you have a very wide network of people that are in the industry and industry friends, from retail to institutional. So 2025, if we look at what's happening in crypto, how do you think sentiment is shifting this year? Have you had any conversations that you feel notably the tone is different this year, and what kind of things are people really excited about in crypto?
Wow. I think right at the start of this year, so right now I'm traveling. I'm in Asia right now. Before that, I was in UK. I think this year is a bit special, you know. So in the past, we talk about ETFs and so forth, right? Okay, we understand, it's cool, but this year, especially end of last year and early this year, I actually see uh, the traditional family offices, coming by, giving me an email, asking me about meme coins, you know.
Okay, interesting.
I think that is crazy, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think that is crazy because, last, I think mid of last year until last year December, I have VCs coming by to ask about meme coins. I think that is okay. I think that is totally cool because VCs are looking at good deals to go in, with a good ROI, right? But then, this year, I have family office, coming by to ask about meme coins. And then I can't mention which private bank, but it's one of these boutique private banks, came by, and asking about uh, about how they can create an index or a basket of cryptocurrency, you know, for their client. And seriously enough, we are not talking about what ADA, XRP, and so forth. They are actually crazily coming by to ask, is there a way they can do a meme coin basket fund? You know,
Wow.
so I think things are really shifting. If I mean, if they are just a VC, I understand, but these are family offices with investment in rubber plantation, in coffee plantation, in hotels, and then the private bank, coming by and say, hey, I'm going to structure this for my client, and then of course they ask a lot of questions from custody all the way to how to structure the index fund and so forth. I could answer as much as I can, but the thing is, things are really shifting, man. Meme coins for private bank clients. I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off, but I think, to me, as a practitioner, I think that is something really, really bullish.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. And it definitely shows a change in sentiment and kind of a word to the maybe people that were naysayers about crypto. And I think our stance here on meme coins is that they are, fun for the industry, and they do go back to that kind of 2013, 14, 15 sentiment of internet culture and the power of these internet chat forums. And it's the kind of identity that a lot of people resonate with crypto. So we've talked about meme coins, but I would love to ask, because you've also mentioned there some hints regarding the recent news we have seen, particularly to do with ADA, XRP. But let's look at altcoins in general, and maybe some of the upcoming developments that you see for the altcoin space. Obviously, we've touched on Bitcoin at the beginning of the stream, and Bitcoin is kind of in the forefront of the conversation because of topics to do with the strategic reserve. But if we forward it over to maybe some of the interesting things you're seeing in the altcoin space, what kind of things are really grabbing your attention at the moment?
I think for me, as a finance guy, I think altcoins right now is having a big discount. Especially for those altcoins with a proven track record. For just for example, like Solana, right? I think now is a big discount, right? If people are still believing in altcoins and then believing in altcoins that are building, for example, Solana is a good deal right now, right? It has dropped a lot, it might drop even more, but I think it's a good deal, right? And then if you look at some other DeFi projects and DeFi protocols, for example, I think now they are also in a really great discounted mode right now. So for those who believe in that kind of narratives, you could definitely go for them. There's nothing to stop you because they are not going to go down because they lost $100 to $200 in value, right? They're still going to be building. It's just a matter of when are you getting back your returns. So I think the altcoin market right now, I think it's quite cool, to be honest.
So you are optimistic and all systems go. One thing that is interesting, and it's coming really soon, we also have the Ethereum Petra upgrade, which is very soon. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on ETH and what you think the upgrade will bring. Obviously, as a seasoned um, advisor and someone that's watching the crypto markets closely, you've probably witnessed a few Ethereum upgrades in your crypto journey. So I'm curious to hear what you think this upgrade will bring for Ethereum, but I guess also the wider layer two ecosystem, and if it'll make Ethereum more competitive against the other L1s.
Wow. I think my honest opinion is this, if you look at what happened in the last 2 quarter, I think Ethereum has been kind of steady, you know, while all the other blockchain, they have really jumped up like at least a 50 to 60%, but Ethereum is still steadying, building their charts and so forth. I think from a Ethereum perspective, in terms of pricing, mainly, I think it is a very healthy state right now. Every different price range, they are filled with different buys. They have many different resistance points and so forth. I think Ethereum, from a price perspective, I think it is really doing very well. And in fact, I think most of my community members would agree with me. We had a quick chat, in one of our groups as well, that we think that with the upgrade, the price of Ethereum is going to shoot up, provided that, the next season, or perhaps maybe the next meme season, is going to be developed from or given birth from the Ethereum network. If they can drive that narrative again, I think easily we could see a $5,000 Ethereum, in within the 2025 this year. So I think I'm really bullish about that. And if all what I've mentioned did come true, I think most of the volume will be repositioned back to uh, Ethereum, and then also to the EVM based blockchains. I think that will come. I mean, that inclusive BNB chain and so forth. But I think if they can take the lead in the next crazy meme run, for example, I think things would look really very rosy for Ethereum. Meanwhile, of course, I hope the foundation can stop selling. You know, and of course they should maintain the low fees that they are talking about. That is actually one of the most important things.
Yeah, that's really interesting insights there. Thank you, Andy. Now we have just a few minutes left, and I do want to make sure that we kind of cover a little bit more of key opportunities for people that are in crypto, but maybe also some risk elements, some things that people should be aware of in the months ahead. Of course, this is not financial advice, but just based on your experience in the market, for people that are joining that might have had one or two market cycles already, or maybe this is their first year investing in crypto. It can be a daunting space. There is a lot to keep note of, and even if you look at the different tokens, it can be quite overwhelming. So maybe if you could give one key, we can start with one key opportunity or word of advice that you would give to the people that are listening on the stream.
Okay, I think um, one key advice from me is that you should always do your own research, and do not listen to those KOLs, because if you see in the last 2 quarters, a lot of this liquidity, a lot of these projects, are drained because of all these insider trades, among all the different KOLs and so forth. So if you are a small guy, new guy, who wants to get into the space, please try to do your own research, and do not base this on speculative news. Do not base this on what your friends are just telling you, and do not buy things that are too new. Just to be very very honest, because I've seen a lot of these new coins that are only available in Southeast Asia, maybe in Malaysia, for example. They are not even listed on CoinMarketCap. All these tokens, when people ask me about them, I told them you just got to go to CoinMarketCap to take a look at them, right? If they do not even have them on, please try not to put in too much money, because there's a very high risk that this is just going to be a very short-term play, right? So still the same thing, do your own research, trust your own instinct, trust your own research, and not go for all these cabal or these KOL coins that are floating around, because none of them is going to do well. And to be honest, I think none of them are going to be listed on Binance. So just forget about it, So buy projects with good community, and then buy projects who have a good vision. That's my final words for everybody.
Fantastic. They were fantastic final words to leave on, and what better note to give the Binance community than to say, the power of community in crypto. I absolutely agree. I think crypto communities is one of the most important things, both working for companies and also in events and then in projects too. Andy, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. It was an absolute pleasure to pick your brains. And I think we're going to have to do this again in the next few months, because I think at the rate that crypto news is breaking, there'll be plenty to discuss coming soon. But thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. No problem at all. And I hope to speak to you really soon, very
Fantastic.
soon.
Thank you. And a huge thank you to everyone that has tuned in on this Tuesday. It's great to see so many familiar faces and so many Binanceans that are joining. And a big thank you to those that have reached out on other platforms like X to say they're tuning in. Deanna, I see you. It's great to see you all again. And make sure to tune in for the next one. We'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.